y'all. Welcome back to the Powerlifting Podcast. I'm your host, Solana Lewis. Today, Kris D and I talk about how we spent New Year's together in Florida, where Kristen just moved to, and our idea of are New Year's resolutions actually worth planning for? Um, do we set any goals for New Year's? What our goals are for our personal life versus our business life, etc. Stuff like that. And also, we talk about how I actually celebrated with Kristen on New Year's Day being 1 year alcohol free. So that was really, really dope. And to experience it with Kristen, especially with her background, with also being alcohol free, was very, very cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And it will be a huge blessing to us this New Year's if y'all can help us get to our goal. I'll spoil for you. We have a goal of getting to 100 reviews this year on podcasts. We're at 65 currently. So if you had never left us a review before, please go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating and review. And let's dive into today's episode.
Login.
All right, y'all. Long time no see, Kristen.
Oh, I haven't seen you since, well, I was going to say last year, but that's actually not true.
Not true. You drove us to the airport at like 4 a.m. on the 1st.
Yeah, that was fun.
I know.
You're welcome.
I said thank you.
Solana came to visit for New Year's and we went cray-cray, right?
Yeah. You're so old.
On the couch.
Well, what's sad is we really had plans. Like, we really were gonna go out. And as the day was going on, we kept kind of talking about it. And I could feel it in your voice, but also I didn't really want to. I was like, outside, people smelling alcohol. And we asked the day went on, we were just like, we don't have to go out.
So my thought process was if you wanted, I did not want to go out as, like you said, as it got closer, but if you wanted to, I would have sucked it up and, all right, let's go. But the second that you were like, yeah, we don't have to do anything, I was like, okay, perfect, let's go home.
I was so happy. Like, literally, first of all, you were falling asleep by 10:30.
I know.
On
And
the
then
couch.
you woke me up.
I woke you up at 11:55. I was like, hey, it's almost New Year's. Turn the ball drop on. We drank alcohol-free wine, which I think the red wine tasted really too close to alcohol to me.
I don't like alcohol-free wine. I don't know. I don't like the taste of it. It tastes like grape juice. It tastes like really shitty wine.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a good way to describe it.
Just tastes, yeah.
There's
So
one I had that was decent, but it was because it tasted like juice. And I was like, see, I can just buy juice, so.
yeah. I usually like getting like the fancy mocktails if I go out, but obviously I don't make them at home.
Yeah.
There was one alcohol-free wine that I had. I can't remember the brand, but it's not something you could buy in store. I think you had to order it. I ordered it on like Amazon or something, but it was, or maybe not Amazon. But it was really good, but I don't remember the name of the wine. So
Next time.
yeah.
But yeah, it was so fun actually hanging out with you in real life and not just talking via screen and not having to just talk about our podcast topic.
Yeah. No, I had a good time. I thought it was fun. And I like I said, I think we got to bond.
We did. And your dog. Your
Oh
dog
my
is
God.
fantastic.
He is a nut.
No, she's actually super, well, she was kind of a nut, but she's like so loving. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart, but she has her moments. But yeah, my little girl. And she loved Solana. She was all about you.
Because I give the dogs that love attention, I can't stop. I'm like, okay, I'll give you all the attention you want. Like,
and she's an attention whore, so she loves
it. But okay, so besides that, with you, I got to also celebrate 1 year fully being sober.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I wish we had sound effects.
I was excited to be able to celebrate that with you.
Yeah.
How does it feel? I think we talked about this a little bit when you were here, but just so the listeners can gauge your mindset, because it's not like you have any issues. You were just more like a sober curious and what would happen if I just stopped drinking. I don't think you had any intention to stop indefinitely. It was just kind of like, all right, well, I'm just going to take some time off. And then when I want to, I'll have a drink, but it ended up just being this year of you not drinking. And now it's like, well, you've already made it a year.
Yeah.
Like, why not make it 2 years or 3 years? I mean, do you ever think you'll go back and have a drink?
So I don't know if I will go back and have a drink. I can't imagine never having a sip of alcohol till the day I die if I hopefully live a long life. But I don't desire drinking at all. And it's really crazy how not drinking, for me, it was like mentally empowering because I felt like I could say no to something that was hard to say no to. Because I went to so many events with open bars this year, more than I ever been to in my life. At least 12 to 15 events where the alcohol was free or like I paid to get in the door and it was, I don't mean like a crappy place too. I mean like a really nice place with a beautiful bar and I'm like, oh, I'm good. Like I'll just drink water, I'll drink a mocktail, and I really loved it. I love never being hungover. If I ever feel groggy in the morning, I know I didn't sleep enough. I know it's not because I was like, oh, is that the alcohol or me? Like, and I hated that feeling in the past. Was like, I had one glass of wine, but was it alcohol or sleep? I don't know which one.
Or a combination of both.
Well, yeah. So it felt very, very empowering. I'm like, it's while I was doing the year, I was like, okay, cool, I'm doing it. But now that I've done it, I'm like, wait a minute, Solana, you actually did it. Like you did a full year. You didn't touch alcohol when you had it offered to you over and over again. So I'm proud of myself. Very fulfilling.
I'm really proud of you. I think that's awesome. And I'm glad that you've found benefit to it. Do you think that, I mean, other than just physically waking up and not feeling like shit, do you notice a difference, uh, mentally and emotionally?
Mentally, absolutely, because I felt like my brain worked that like even when I didn't feel crappy, like dehydrated, my brain would feel slow for a few days if I even had one drink, which is so insane to because now I've been gone a year. I'm like, no, my brain felt good the entire year. Like it truly felt good. I feel so sharp and I feel more productive. It's definitely been the most productive year of my life, not just because I'm not drinking, but that really helped it. So yeah, it really showed me how even a very small amount of alcohol can make an impact on how I feel because I was a person who always even felt a headache after one drink, anyways. So,
Mhm.
and then I have no stress. I'm such a lightweight. I will always be stressed out if I went out to even a dinner because I will always have more than one drink and I will always drive home and be like, I know I'm a little tipsy, but I'm fine. Not like, wasted driving the car, but just like always like, probably
Yeah.
shouldn't be driving. Like, but I'm fine. I don't like that feeling of like, but maybe not. So,
But I really hope I
yeah.
don't get pulled over because
Exactly. Like, I hope I don't have a breathalyzer test because that would suck. Like,
what I noticed when I stopped drinking is obviously like the day after, right? You're hungover. But even in the times where maybe I wasn't drinking, so if I, have a drink on Saturday and then drink again on Wednesday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I wasn't actively drinking, but I still there was like a different feel, like this different mental clarity and my mental uh well-being was worse than being sober and having taken time off from drinking. And I never noticed that because I mean, you're not drinking, right? Like I'm not drunk. I haven't had a few drinks in a couple of days. So you won't realize it until you've actually taken time off, right? And then just waking up in the morning and not feeling anxious and being able to wake up and like, oh my God, my head is that's obviously a a good feeling. We're just waking up and feeling rested and not anxious and all these things that when I was drinking, I would try to numb, but it was like that never-ending cycle of, this temporarily numbing this feeling that I had, but then it's ultimately like getting worse and then you just this repetitive cycle. I don't know if you ever noticed if you feel like just like your mental health in general just feels better.
I would say this because I think it's hard for me to notice right now because it's been such a while. And
Mhm.
I would, if I ever did drink in the past, even if I got drunk, I will always go a few weeks without drinking again. But I
Uh,
will say, I feel like now that I haven't drank, there is this, like, I feel like more emotionally stable, I would say. Like, not that I was a super emotional person before, but I would definitely just be like in a bad mood after drinking the following day. I was a happy drunk, but the following day, and like slightly, and like I felt like because I was kind of crabby, like even when like the any sort of hangover is gone, I just didn't feel like my happy self for a couple of days because
Mhm.
I realized now like I'm a pretty upbeat person when I'm out and about for the most part if I'm well rested. And I was never ever well rested when I had alcohol. So I would say that.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's been a eye-opening experience for myself, and I'm so glad that, I mean, obviously like our reasonings were very different, you and I, but we kind of both came to the same conclusion, but just a very different way.
Totally, totally. And my friend Kat, who's also my teammate from Mount Vernon, she just got to 1 year like the day after me, either this the first or second, like pretty much the same thing. It was the same kind of idea where she went a month and she's like, you know what, I wonder if I could go a whole year. And then she didn't really like say I had to go a whole year, but then she kind of ended up close to a year and did it. And we talked about it yesterday at the gym, like really briefly, and she was like, "Yeah, like I don't desire to drink." She's like, "Do you desire to drink?" I'm like, "Not at all." I'm like, "I don't desire to have any alcohol whatsoever." So we're
Yeah.
both in the same place of like, we're not saying we'll never have a drink again, but we don't want it. And we don't like the thought of even drinking enough to get drunk sounds very unappealing. But in the past, isn't it crazy how it was such an exciting feeling to think about getting drunk? It was so exciting. It was like, I'm gonna go out with my friends and we're gonna party. And now it's like, this is not fun.
Yeah. I think so. I would consider myself an introvert, mostly unless it's someone that I'm really comfortable with. But I would say in general, in like a social setting, it's like I have a limited mental battery. And then like once it's out, it's like I'm done. I need to hibernate and recover for a day and not, talk to anyone. But when I would drink, and I think part of the reason that I would, and probably a lot of people, right, is because it kind of lets down your guard and you're a little bit more friendly and comfortable and outgoing. And that was always the reason that if I was going out and I was in a place where I maybe didn't really know a lot of people, that I could have some alcohol and I would just kind of loosen up a little bit, be a little bit more friendly and confident. But then there's always like that line of, okay, like one or two drinks where you're feeling good, and then any more than that, and then you're just the sloppy drunk,
Yep.
right? And my problem was once I started going, I was like, I feel good. So I want more so I can even feel better. Right. And then like at what point are you like, yeah, I'm very confident now, but now I'm not going to remember the night before. So and I think that's like at least for me, the issue that once I started, it was very, very hard for me to stop. I just wanted to continue going until I basically passed out. And that's the only reason that I stopped drinking is because I was blacked out. So do you know, I mean, you're in the city or close to, but they've started opening up a lot of like alcohol-free bars. And it's the entire bar. They make these, I mean, it's probably you're making these expensive mocktails, right? Like they're probably going to make so much money because there's no alcohol, but they charge like, what they would for a normal drink. But the whole bar is alcohol free, but it's still the same setting. There's a bar, there's socializing, but there's just no alcohol at that bar. And I haven't been to one yet, but I kind of want to go just to see how it would be. But then also I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to drain my mental battery. So
That I did not know they have full bars, but I am in the city multiple times a week, so I'll probably try it now.
in New
That
York,
sounds
I
really cool.
know. Yeah, New York, the city has one. I don't know the name, but I remember them like hearing about them popping up. So if I
Hmm.
find it, I'll give you some info and you'll have to tell me how it goes.
Yes, definitely. But one thing I want to say, based off what you just said, so I'm very introverted.
Mm.
Like battery, it starts on walking the door. I'm at 100. I just feel it slowly get to zero every time I go to any sort of social event, business event, speaking events, networking events, like all those which I do on a monthly basis. I'm like, all right, make sure you got 10 hours of sleep the night before because you're gonna need it to get through the night. And I love how not having alcohol two things. Number one is push me because I'm very uncomfortable when I'm with like 100 people and I know one person. But it's pushed me to make myself talk to people when I don't have any sort of look of courage, which I like, because that's definitely what I would have in the past. I'm like, let me just have one drink. Like business event, I wouldn't have been like, let's high five, but one, and then like, okay, now I feel this way. But I love that I don't need it. Like now I'm still not comfortable, but I am used to making myself talk to people and figuring out a generic topic that we can both kind of bond over quickly to get a conversation started. And then on top of that, I love how well, personally, I believe that I wouldn't have gotten the amount of opportunities I've had if I had drank this year. Because at these networking events, I've met some people, and then certain people have turned into my business partner, my coach, my speaking coach. They've turned into people who I'm close with, who we talk business together with, and we're coming up with ideas that are going to produce income in the future. And I just feel like even slightly tipsy Solana may not have been able to be in the conversation well enough to get to that point. Cause I know
Yeah.
how I am when I'm tipsy. I'm just not as smart. I'm just not as intelligent. like I'm not like dumb, but you know what I mean. I'm not sharp with it. So
Yeah.
I really feel like personally, so this had nothing to do with being a Christian or spiritual whatsoever, me taking a year off drinking. But I feel like God did put the idea in my head at this time in my life for this reason. Because of all the business events I've gone to this year and how my life has shifted, it was the perfect time to try not drinking. So
Yeah. And I like that I mean, like you said, naturally, I think you and I talked about this, where we were both kind of introverted. I was like, you're an introvert, really?
yes. I'm so introverted. If you really knew me, you would know. So not only do I live alone with my two cats, just but I stay home and then I make plans like once a week that aren't like work related, and then I make sure to not make any more plans for another week. Like I
Yeah.
can't handle it.
Yeah. That's funny. I like to not make plans, and it's kind of the spur of the moment thing because if I make plans and then I'm getting ready, regretting my decision and be
Yep.
like, I didn't agree to this. So if I do it last minute where I'm like, if someone messages me and then I'm like, yeah, I'll go and let me do it before I think about it, has been helpful. Um, but yeah, I think it's cool that, like you said, you're not like a naturally comfortable, like public speaking does not come naturally for a lot of people, especially someone who's probably more introverted. But the fact that you kind of forced yourself to go out of your comfort zone, and so you're doing this course where it's literally public speaking, right? Like the one thing that you hate doing, and you're like, all right, well, I'm going to sign up for a course and do it. And so instead of using, drinking as a crutch when you're going out to meet people, it's like you're practicing and you're learning how to make conversation and to make people feel comfortable around you. And there's like a lot of, I don't know, psychology around that. Is what was the Bill Carnegie book? I don't know if you're familiar with it, but
How
basically
to
how to
make friends and influence people?
influence people. And it's just basically like people love to talk about themselves. There's like these certain things that just like as a human, like the human biology, how we respond to other people, and these little I don't know, like you probably can speak on it more than me at this point, but like making conversation, these things that maybe come naturally to some people, but just something like asking a question and not just like what's your name. It's like you ask questions and people love to talk about themselves, right? So that's something that I'll try to do if I'm out. I'm like, all right, let me just, but then I'm like, okay, what question should I ask?
Oh, I know. That's always the tougher part. I'm really thankful that, like, for example, I'm in one group called The Circle.
Mhm.
It's ran by a man named Tony Peck, who I just watched him present his first TEDx talk in person, and he's a really dope person. He's called the Godfather of networking, like that's like his
Yeah.
Instagram, and he's big on making cigar networking events, right? So I don't like cigars, but I be smelling like cigars by the end of the night. It's fine. I just won't smoke one. But anywho, so I'm mentioning him because when he puts on events, he now makes everyone like put a bracelet on. If they're in the group, the circle, they have a white one. If they're not in the group but they're paying to go, they have a black one. So it's like an easy topic, like, oh, you're in the group already? What's your name? Or like, oh, you're not in part of the circle, why not? It's like a really easy segue. So the groups I'm in are trying to make it easier to have to break the ice like first sentence,
Yeah.
which I love because I'd be like, okay. What am I gonna do? I still do the same way. I'm like, what am I gonna say? I gotta ask a question about them. Should I make it about like what they're wearing, what they do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you overthink. I'm like, what questions? I don't know. Oh my God, I love your earrings. I'm like, is that like passive aggressive? Do they think that I'm being, rude? So
Superficial, yeah, I know.
yeah. So it's funny, but it's also very interesting. Um, and so I know you asked if I wanted to go to a public speaking event, so I'm considering it. Do you find
You're
now?
going. You're going in
All
March.
right. Do you find that, I mean, compared to the first time that you did public speaking to now, it's like if you have to do an event, you probably don't even really think twice about it now. Your anxiety is probably not there. Those initial like the butterflies that you maybe used to get before. Do you still get that?
This is insane. First of all, I'm just as scared.
Oh, you
Day
are.
one. All
Okay.
right. Like, well, let me say this. I don't want to say scared. I definitely have more confidence because I can literally look at footage of myself, and I do look at my footage not often, but I've looked at it before to hear myself and think like what could I have done better. But since I've done it now, I'm never gonna say no because I'm like I know I've done it before. I can't say no when I know I can do it. But I so I've done two speaking events this year outside of doing my public speaking classes where they film me speaking. So it may look like I've done more, but I've only been on two actual stages with actual events that had nothing to do with my course. And I practiced for each of those probably 50 times, like went through the full keynote 50 times. Recorded myself and rewatched it. Recorded myself and rewatched it. So I practiced so much that by the time I get there, I'm not as nervous. I definitely have butterflies, but I can say I memorized the speech. I memorized word for word what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Word for word. And I want to get to a point where I can memorize, but also have a little bit more free flow. Because that's when the best speakers they start to shine when they can bring out something in the moment that may be happening. You can add it into the speech, but you know the speech so well you can keep going. I'm not there yet. Like I've had moments where I'm like, oh, I see someone, let's say, in a green dress, and I know this person what they do for a living. I can say their name real quick and like add them into what I'm saying because people would get it because they all know who she is. But my brain won't let me do it because I'm still like, I know you practice this. This speech is 4 minutes, 59 seconds. Don't you dare. So I'm not there yet, but that's just more practice.
And
But I'm
sneak.
still very nervous. I still practice months in advance. I have a keynote April 5th, and I'm gonna start practicing for it in about 2 weeks, and I'm gonna do it every single week, at least every single day, once a day, until April 5th. So
No, that's funny. Like I said, if you sleep, you sneeze, and then you're off your time. You're like, fuck, we gotta like make this up. 2 seconds off. Um, but you talked about going to a comedy show, and I think that's probably like a really good place to learn, well, at least to observe public speaking, because that's pretty much what they do, and they literally memorize their jokes, right? And there's always, I don't know, like maybe a heckler in the crowd or something, and you have to, as a comedian, learn or know how to like, okay, well, you're on this path, right? But it's okay to deviate based off of the audience, and maybe someone says something or does something and you comment on that. And I think that probably comes with just more, yeah, just experience and being comfortable. But you said that they actually take you to comedy shows, right? And you
yes, I guess it's about to be an ad for Brandon. You're welcome, Coach. Was so it's literally it's I keep saying literally. I do not like that. See, I'm off. I haven't practiced a speech in a while. It's called Speaker School. When Brandon and Carl do Speaker School, the first night they take you to a comedy show, and that's after you just went through 8 hours of learning a lot of information and starting to understand how to put together a keynote speech. I like that they take us there because you just learn so much, and then a few hours later, you pay attention and you see the speaker differently, the comedian. You pay attention to like, their eyes, like where they're looking, their body language. If someone is talking in the crowd, you see how they free flow, but how to get back to being on point and how they didn't lose what they were going after. I pay attention to are they looking up at the ceiling to think about what they're gonna say. I've seen that before. I'm like, oh, you're trying to remember what you have to say, and now I notice it. Or looking down at the floor, or like like small stuff like that. You start to pay attention to, and then just pay attention to what they're saying and how if something doesn't hit, how they recover. Because that happens in a speech too. Like I try to add in, I won't say full on comedy, but I'll try to add in something to make it like less stiff. Like I
yeah.
will have like 3 or 4 sentences where I'm like, okay, I hope this gets a laugh. I go into it thinking, I hope this gets a laugh, so it's not so like tight because no one knows me in this audience. Like my speeches so far, no one knew me. I met the person in charge of the event, but no one knew me in the audience. And it's like 100 people, so I'm trying to like no one's comfortable with me at all. So I'll try that, and I have to learn how to. So far, I at least get one laugh and one laugh. It's not been like crickets, but sometimes it's like, ooh, I got like two laughs. Keep going. And so to see someone and know that they tried a joke and had to recover, like stuff like that's really cool. I
Yeah.
kind of want to do one stand-up comedy just to practice more public speaking, but it's so scary. But I kind of want to try it out.
If you do that, I want to be there. I am
Oh my
going.
God.
If you ever do a comedy show or a stand-up comedy, I want to be there. Let me know. I'm gonna live stream it for all of the powerlifting community so we can all watch Solana as she does her public speaking comedy show.
Let's see what happens this summer. Let me get through this first speech in April.
Yeah. Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Resolutions. Okay, first of all, how do you feel about resolutions? Do you think they're corny? Do you think they make sense?
Uh, I don't think they're corny. I think that they're it's the new year, so you're starting something new. So I understand it, but I think sometimes the way that people go about it is probably not ideal. They make these like extravagant changes that they're going to make, and I'm going to be like a completely different person starting tomorrow. And it's like, well, it probably doesn't work like that. I'm going to go to the gym every single day. And it's like you went from not going at all to every single day. Like these are just these big commitments that I think people, it's difficult to follow just because it's such a big change in their routine. So it's not that I'm against it. I just think that people have to be more realistic into what those goals are. And so if you want to start going to the gym, like, oh, great. But, I'm going to go every Monday after work or whatever. And small goals. Instead of going from 0 to 100, it's like you go from no gym to let's go 1 or 2 days a week. And then if you can be consistent, then you can add days. But I think, and if you're uncomfortable, then you get a trainer or a coach or whatever. But going in there with like, I don't know what I'm doing, can be kind of intimidating. And so I think people, that's why they fall off really quickly.
Yeah, I hear that. I love New Year's resolutions. In my mind, it's just goal setting for the year.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. I so the acronym SMART. Every single one of my goals that I make are SMART goals, right? So specific, measurable, a hold on, wait, I just went through specific, measurable. What's the A?
You? I don't even know.
I just went through it in my head before I started saying it. Gee, I was like, I got this. Realistic, time
Hold on.
friendly, or like time specific.
Yeah.
Is it attainable? It's not
Yes.
attainable, is it?
Yes.
Is it attainable? All right. Sorry, y'all. That's a little.
Achievable,
Oh,
specific,
same thing.
measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound or time.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So I do make sure that all my goals are SMART goals. I have a lot of goals. I actually, with my coach, set up when I started with him a 10-year goal, 5-year goal, 3-year goal, 2-year goal, 1-year goal. So I went through all of them again the end of December, went through all of them again last week and last night too, to make sure that I really like the goals that I have. So your question was what goals do I have? I'm not going to go through all of them by any means, but I will say a couple. So actually I'll talk about my categories. So I have 4 categories. Powerlifting, and those goals are pretty straightforward. I'll say the number because it's not scary because I made them lower this year because last year, girl, I did not hit a single goal for any lift 2024, y'all. Did not hit a single one. So my goals this year is basically to add 5 kilos to my squat at minimum. I'm like, if I can't do that, I quit. Like, I did not PR my squat in 2024 at all. So 5 kilos, especially with I finally hit a PR with you last week. I feel good about that. My bench goal is also at this point 4 kilos on top of what I've done in the gym, and then my deadlift goal is big. It is 502. I've hit 215 in the gym, so that's no, sorry, 215 in competition as 227, so 12 and a half. But when I hit 215, it moved really, really easy. So I
Hmm.
don't know what I have in me, and I don't even know if I'll compete in 2025. But in the gym, if I don't compete, I will set up a day where I go to max out on my deadlift, and I better hit 500. Okay, I'll try to make it fast. Actually, no, go ahead. Do you have powerlifting goals?
Well, my one goal is I would love to hit a squat PR. I haven't hit one since 2018. So
You have beat me on that one. It's only been since 2023.
yeah, so I got, about 7 years that I haven't hit a squat PR.
I had a 3 year stint for deadlift, but that's still not the same.
But I think I'm capable of it. It's just at this point it's how my body is gonna hold up. Because some it's usually just hit or miss if I go to the gym and my glute feels great or it doesn't. I think you and I trained and I was like, oh, like I can feel it. It was pretty flared up the day that we trained. Um, so if I can have a good day at a meet where my glute feels great, I'm confident that I can hit a PR, even if it's just a small one at this point. I don't care.
I
Just
That's why I made it five. Was gonna make it 2.5, but I was like, okay, it has been a full year where I didn't hit 2.5. So now that we're on year two, I gotta make it five.
I just keep thinking, like, damn, if I like 7 years ago and I was adding 2.5 kilos every year or something, like if I didn't get hurt, I would be, I'd have a great squat. But hey, we can't look at what if.
I
So
hear
my
that.
goal is to hit just a squat PR. I put an arbitrary number of just 190 because I think it's a cool number. My best ever was 182 and a half. And that was before I got hurt. Um, so if I can add 7.5 kilos, I've pretty much, I think I've come close to that number. The last meet that I competed in, my third attempt was like like it was just all my lifts were like RPE 7. I think. So I think I have a chance. I don't know if I'd hit 190. That's probably a little ambitious, but 182 to 190 is not unreasonable at this point. I would love to hit a 500-pound deadlift as well. I think the best I pulled 220, which was 484. So if 227, it's another 7.5 kilo total. But just for ease of use, I want 230 because why not? Which is 507.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Bench press.
Bench is always a puck bench.
I feel like you have a decent bench. Maybe it's because we're same weight class, and just know my bench is 106 in the gym as of now.
My bench is so inconsistent. That's what's frustrating. And I still have yet to figure out like what seems to work really well. I will say, so the best like I've ever hit is 120 in the gym. And that was when I was that was a lot of volume and I was benching about 5 days a week. But I competed in at the SBD Raleigh meet in July, and I think I hit 110. I missed 112, and I'm like, I've hit this.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like my bench is just like it fluctuates so much that it's always just like a hit or miss. So I think with bench, as long as I can hit a bench PR, I'm gonna be happy. And my best ever in competition is 112. Again in 2018. No, 2021. I think I hit it in 2021. So that was 4 years ago at this point. So if I can hit 115, I'll be happy. But
Oh, okay. I like these goals we got. I'm just gonna go over one other goal. I'm not gonna go through every single work goal whatsoever, but I have a personal goal. Well, really
okay.
two. So my one personal goal I have is taking, or no, I just changed today, is doing one self-care thing for myself every single week because I tend to get a bit overwhelmed with work because I'm just determined to get everything done and things start to spill over to the next day. And it's not out of laziness, it's just the day has so many hours. I still gotta train, get to New York City. I gotta eat the food. I gotta meal prep the food. I gotta take care of my athletes. I gotta get to the podcast club. Like I'm like, oh my God. So sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna work on Saturday too. And then Sunday I already programmed for majority of the day and I meal prep. So I find myself going to like 14 days. I'm like, yo, I haven't had a day off. I haven't done anything for myself and I want to die. And it's because I just haven't had a day where I just slept in or like had a few hours to do like maybe nothing. So one self-care thing that might be like a massage one week. It might be taking half the day off. I would definitely want to give myself a day off probably every other week, but I made it goal once a week and I already was like, I'm gonna ruin it this weekend. So like, let me just not make it a full day off. But if I prioritize that, that's a chunk of time where I'm off and then I'll feel better.
Yeah. And you can even do little things. I mean, obviously getting a massage, but like taking time, well, probably not for you right now, but I like to go outside and going for walks. And
Oh,
sometimes,
absolutely. But it's
yeah,
wind
I know.
chill makes it
That's
fast
why I
as
was
you
like,
say.
I don't know about that right now. It's probably, I don't know if that would be considered,
Depression, make myself miserable.
well, I mean, it could be some cold therapy, technically, right?
I will not. I'm not getting the ice bath. I don't want to be cold. I'm
You
not
don't
doing
have
the
to. You just go for a
pyro.
walk outside.
Nope. I have my walking pad.
Go
Nope.
lay in the snow for a minute. You'll be fine.
Nope. I take hot showers only. I refuse to. I'm done. I
Or a
won't do
bubble
it.
bath. I've gotten into like bubble baths and just, yeah, just like laying down at night and like putting on like meditation music and stuff I've gotten into. So it's like you don't really have to splurge when you
Hmm.
say, like doing these like uh like not self-help, but what would you call it?
Okay.
Self-care. I don't know why I'm self-help.
No,
Um
you're right. I could take a long hot shower and then
yeah,
maybe.
just little things for yourself, or like me waking up in the morning and my little like iced coffee that I have. And I have like my little special way of doing it. And I think, did you try my iced coffee?
I did, but I just had like the coffee with some milk.
Oh,
Like I
you
don't
had
think
the
I did.
mushroom coffee.
No, no, no. But look at you. Look at you. I had the iced coffee too, but it was just iced coffee. I added some milk to it. Like I don't know if that's. I don't think it's just special coffee because I definitely just
Um,
dumped in some milk and drank it.
I don't know. It makes me feel so good. I was like, oh, this is so good, and makes me
I
feel
have
good.
my
I don't know. It's like little things, right? That
I
just
have my Nespresso machine. I make myself lattes, which I appreciate, but that will not be my self care. Cause I be drinking a latte while I work, and now I'm like, see, it's not relaxing, but I'm enjoying the latte, but I'm not relaxed at all. Just so you know,
like
programming is not
it's that
relaxing. It's
work.
not bad, but I'm not relaxing while I make this program. So
Yeah. I remember when I first started drinking coffee and it would like make me wired. Like I'd have one cup and I'd be like this and like in school and I'd be so focused. And now I can drink coffee and go to bed and I miss those days where I was so sensitive to caffeine.
yeah, you drink so much caffeine and coffee, just addicted.
I
Can't get
know.
enough.
I think I'm just desensitized. I need to like take time off from not drinking any caffeine, but just the thought of not drinking caffeine, I'm like, oh, I can't do that. No way.
Yeah. I know I'm not addicted because I can easily forget my coffee, have no caffeine, and not notice until I go to bed. Like, oh yeah, I didn't have any.
I've done that before.
All
Actually,
right, like,
when I was like, if I would drink and the next day I would not have caffeine. It's the only time I didn't have caffeine the next day.
what's your personal goal for the year outside of powerlifting?
Outside of powerlifting, so I'm back in school. I transferred schools, which is part of the reason that I now live in Florida. So
Mhm.
the goal is to start school, do well in school, complete school. I would love to buy property. That would, I think, I don't know if that would be a year goal. That's like a 5-year goal, I think.
Gotta be
Um,
for 2025.
well, we got till 2030.
Okay, well, I need a smart goal from you for 2025.
25.
Yeah,
Get all A's in class.
that's is
Yeah.
that a smart goal? Not for
Yeah.
me, I couldn't do it. So that might be real for you. Just know I was a C gets degrees girl, so I'm like, is that real or not? Like,
No, 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 I can do it.
hey, I love that. Yeah, I was definitely like that. That was my motto. C's get degrees, 100%. That was me the whole time. If I got a B, I was like, what a B? Oh my God. Crazy. And if I got an A, gym class.
Oh yeah, I
Gym
was so
class
good
only.
at gym. Everyone hated gym and I loved it.
Everyone listening to this podcast love gym.
I
Kristen, you're not unique, okay? You're not unique.
know. That was my favorite class.
The only class I liked. It was that, and then I liked history when I had this one teacher. I went to like basically a mostly all white school. Well, not all white. There was actually Koreans that were transfer students. Like they had an international program, so it was like Korean and then all white kids. And there was one black teacher, in the
Really?
whole school. And that's why I liked history because I was obsessed with her. So I enjoyed the class because she was there. That was it. Got
Yeah.
an A. Tried
There
really hard.
I think that's, I mean, most people, right? You enjoy the class that you, the teacher that you like the best.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily your favorite subject, it's just the person, the teacher that you connect with is your favorite.
Yeah. And that's why I try really hard to be chill and relatable to my kids because even though I'm not a teacher, like quote unquote, I legitimately go into classes and do like multiple classes a day during the school day for podcasting. So I try to be a teacher I didn't get to have. It's so interesting. I'm like, okay, I have to be relatable.
You're still
Don't
an
be too.
authoritative figure to them, even if you're not necessarily their teacher
Oh,
per se.
they literally thought I
So
was. They think I'm a teacher, anyways. They think I'm there during the school day. They think I'm a teacher.
that's true.
So I'm like, okay.
Do you have any goals outside of powerlifting?
I have a lot, but I don't want to go. Like when I tell you this list would take me half an hour, and it's not because I have so many that are like. It's not anything unrealistic. It's just I have goals for podcast club, like for how many schools we get into. I have goals for coaching's pretty straightforward. I like the amount of clients I have. I'm pretty much maintaining and maybe take a few more, but I don't really have a goal for getting more and more athletes this year.
Uh,
Just to get the athletes I have, get more of them to nationals. That's my goal for them.
to get them to be better.
Yeah, get them all stronger. I want a certain amount of them to at least qualify for nationals. I don't care if they do it. They do it great. If you don't want to, I'm not gonna make you. But if I can be like, I got twice the amount this year to qualify for nationals, that
Uh,
will bring a lot of joy
what about like a life goal?
for the year.
Hmm.
I can go spiritual.
You would go more spiritual?
No, I said I can like give it a spiritual goal
Yeah,
I have.
that works.
Um, like yeah. So I already have the goal of continuing with my life group. So we have like this female Bible study and it's seasonal. So
Mm.
you have to attend, it's like 10 weeks and then a break, and then 10 weeks and then break. So pretty much my goal is to stay in it because you have to get to at least six of them to stay in it with the same group, right? And with the way my life is working, I barely got to six last time, but I did it by God's grace. Because if I don't get to six, they switch your group because like you have to retake it. And if I switch groups, I'm not going back. Like I love my group, so I will not go back. He made me switch. So I would go staying in my life group throughout the entire year 2025.
That's a good one.
Yeah. They make
Actually,
you better.
I think like I said, it would probably be, I don't want to do an extreme and say I want to go to church every single week because I've been inconsistent. So I think that would be a little, that would be a lot to say I'm going to commit to every single Sunday, but I would say at least once a month, I would like to go back to church. And I've gone, it's just been more like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything today. I guess I'll go, and maybe I'll go 3 weeks in a row and then I won't go for 2 months and then I'll go once and not go. So at least some sort of like consistency, maybe, yeah, at least once a month would be a good goal
You
for me
need,
to start.
I love that goal. You need a friend. You should go with the guy we met walking back from the beach.
Ed,
You should
my
go with Chad. If you have a, it's like the gym. You have a partner and then you can't not show up.
yeah. Well, actually, my roommate, when she gets here, she was here visiting and then she had to go back to New York. But her and I went to one of the churches down here and it was cool because I was like, I didn't know that you were like into that. It was like I just because it's not something that I really talk about, right? Like I just kind of keep my personal like politics or religious, like I just keep it to myself, right? Um, and even with my friend, so when she told me that she likes to go, I was like, really? That's awesome. I didn't know that. So now we're gonna go together.
I love that. Oh, look at, I love our goals.
Now maybe I'll get my new buddy Chad to go with me.
You should. And they can talk to me about how great the services were. I'm a everyday Sunday person.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that I would want to build up to. But I think, starting with an actionable goal as opposed to every single week,
But yes.
that would be a lot for me right now. I could get there eventually, but I think once a month is just reasonable. It's not something that would be it wouldn't be extreme for me. So
Yeah.
I think it's doable. It's
Awesome.
achievable,
And it's
achievable
realistic.
and realistic.
And specific and measurable
Yes, exactly.
and time bound for the year. For the year. That's
Right.
12. That's 12 Sundays within 12 months.
God, that sounds like nothing. But
Sorry.
that sounds doable. Like I can go to church 12 times this year. That sounds that's very, I can do that.
Hey,
Achievable. Achievable. Achievable.
achievable.
Achievable. That's what we're gonna call our podcast. The name of it.
Achievable year.
We had an achievable year.
Well, thank y'all for listening. I hope y'all have some New Year's goals. Definitely feel free to DM them to us.
Ooh,
And
I'm
you can mention,
interested.
yes, that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
And then you can mention your goal in the review when y'all leave us a 5-star review and a rating on both Spotify and Apple. Thank you. No, what? Goal for the year, y'all. I want 100 reviews. We're at 65.
Woo.
That's only 35 more in a year.
Close-ish. 35 by the end of the year. That's the goal. It's achievable.
That's very achievable.
All right.
Okay.
I like that.
Please help us get to 100 reviews on Apple Music. And no, sorry, Apple Podcast. And then on Spotify, just keep giving us a 5-star rating, please. But thank y'all for listening and catch you next time on the Power and Lifting Podcast.